Hey, y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent here with Real Property Associates. And the question I want to answer today in my series on questions that a home buyer should ask is, should you work with your friend or neighbor to sell your house? And I would say this is a complicated question, so I'll give a little bit of a complicated answer. But my answer would be, it really depends on the person. And I think these are some of the questions you can ask to just make that decision, but ideally, people like to work with somebody that they know, like, and trust. It makes sense, and that's one of the biggest reasons that people will choose to work with a real estate agent. And every year, a large amount of transactions and homes are bought and sold with a friend, family member, or neighbor, somebody that you know and maybe isn't necessarily an expert in the field, but somebody that you're comfortable with. So I would ask a few questions to help decide whether you should or shouldn't work with that friend or family member or neighbor. And the first question I would ask is, how long have they been in the business? The majority of real estate agents will flame out after or within their first 2 years. So if they're newer, it doesn't mean they're not good, so definitely vet them and ask some of these other questions, but the majority of people that get into real estate don't continue on after 2 years, and there's a reason for that. So definitely ask that question, how long have they been in the business? And along with that, you're going to want to evaluate them on other criteria, because just because you're newer at a job doesn't mean you're not good at it. So that's not the only factor. Other questions to ask are, is this their full-time job? Is this what they do for a living? I've been selling real estate as my full-time job. It's how I make a living and provide for my family, and it's the only job I have. So I don't spend time working as an accountant or an attorney, or heck, I'm not an engineer. This isn't like a side gig for me. It's something that I do all the time. So I live and breathe it. I'm writing contracts every day. I'm talking with clients. I'm interacting with the real estate world. And that's not the case for people that are doing this as a part-time job. So again, I'm not the only full-time real estate agent out there, but you want to make sure that this person does this as their job. The other questions to ask, you're going to want to know, how many sales do they do in a year? What's their experience level? The biggest myth, or it's not the biggest myth, but it's a large myth, is that somebody that has more years of experience is actually a better real estate agent or a more experienced real estate agent. And if we're talking about somebody that does 2 or 3 transactions a year, even if they have 10 or 15 years of experience, an agent that works full-time and this is their job in a year or two is going to have just as much actual practical experience as that agent that's been in the business for 15 years. So you're going to want to know, okay, well, how long have they been selling houses? Are they actually good at their job? Do they do this on a regular basis? Is this something they're good at? And then other questions to ask, you're going to want to know, like, what are you going to do to market and sell my house? If you're going to be working with them as a listing agent, what are you going to do to sell my house? This is a question every real estate agent has to be able to answer, but everybody answers it differently. And the worst thing I would say for a seller is somebody that decides to work with a friend or family member or neighbor, somebody that they know, and then all they do is get camera photos, and that's it. And they put it on the internet. And they're going to charge you the same thing. And maybe they'll give you a discount. Where if you're working with somebody maybe that does this as their full-time job, you're getting 3D walkthroughs, you're getting video tours, you're getting high-quality photos, you're getting open houses with food. You've got a lot more marketing that's happening for you. Maybe they're advertising it on social media and paying for it. There's varying levels of what people do to sell your house. So you want to know, where's your friend or family member? Where are they at on the spectrum? What are they going to do to sell your house? And are you actually getting a good deal working with them? And then the other question, if you're working with them to buy a house, how often are they coming up against multiple offers? What is their strategy to help you be successful in negotiations? Because as a buyer in the Seattle area real estate market, you're going to have competition, and you don't want to miss out on a house that you could have just because you want to work with a friend. You want to make sure you're working with somebody that actually knows how to advise you and negotiate in those situations. So those are a few questions to help you decide whether you want to work with that friend, family member, neighbor. It's not a bad thing. I love working with friends, and I love working with family members, neighbors, coworkers. I love it. It's awesome. But you got to make sure that that person's a professional and they're going to do a good job, because if they don't, you're going to ruin that relationship potentially over the business decision. But if they're good at their job, you'll strengthen your relationship. So hope this is helpful for somebody out there today. And I'll have another question and answer video here for you soon on what you should be asking as a home buyer. Bye for now.